Dyson Daniels, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. It's good to be here.
Man, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's
A
been
lot's
while.
changed since I remember we were back here, nearly 2022, episode 142. Big Darcy's got it down for us, but that was, fuck, man. Even in a short time, it's been a big journey for yourself.
It has. And, it feels time's flown since then. So, I have had a lot going on since then. Had a lot of changes. So, I'm excited to be here and talk about them.
Mate, talk us through. You've rocked up with an entourage as well, which I love. That's what I'm pumped about. Talk us through your team here. What have you got? Who's involved? And obviously we're friends already, and I'm already sort of talking business deals with them. But how does that work when you're back in Australia?
Yeah. So right now we got Bianca with us. So she works closely with my agent, helping us out. She's great. She's always here for helping me with whatever I need in Australia, getting me stuff, whether it be, being there for podcasts, news shows, TV shows. She's always there making sure it's all going well. So, I've recently met Bianca and she's been great. So it's good to have Bianca on the team. And then got Rock here, my assistant. He's been great as well. I've had him live with me for about a year now. So he, does whatever I need, which is good. And, it's just great to have, that support around.
That is so cool. I know it's weird because they're like literally 30 centimetres away from us talking about it. But like with, I'm really interested in Rock. We were just chatting before. But how does that relationship work? Is that something that when your schedule's so busy in the NBA, you got so many games turning around, you got to book a lot of your own stuff. Like, is it common for a lot of players to have their own assistant?
Yeah, I think as a lot of like the higher end players will have them. I'm not a higher end player, so don't put me in that category. But I think it's just for me. It was like I did my rookie year and I was living alone, and it was just boring. At home all the time. I had to like book my own things, book all my friends' flights. Go pick them up from the airport, and like I was living pretty far away, so it was just kind of like a lot to do when you're in season. You're having to deal. You just want to focus on basketball. So I think the main thing was that I'd known Rock for 3 years now. He helped me when I first moved over to the US. He was already working like for my agent, as a kind of an intern, helping people, you get food, coming to and from the airport, getting to and from practice that were coming from Australia to the States to train. So I kind of knew him for like 2 years before I hired him, and ever since then, he's been great. He makes my life easier. So, shout out Rock,
so good
for that.
It's crazy, man. You got a lot going on, which we were just chatting briefly before off the pod, which we'll go through today. But obviously a big move overseas. That's a massive change in itself. But then playing some really good basketball, and then off the court as well, just starting a fashion label, which is really exciting. We'll sort of dive into. How's all that going? And how'd you come up with the name? How do you actually say that properly?
It's called Vucetti.
Vucetti. Yeah.
So it means you and I. So you is Vus is you in French. Mm-hmm. The et is and in Italian, and the I is I in English. So it's kind of you and I, like put together in 3 different languages. And me and my friend Macy, I grew up with him in Bendigo. We've always had aspirations of doing a clothing label. So to finally have it, kind of up and going in the works, and very close to being dropped. We're very excited because it's been a long process. It's been about 2-3 years in the making. It's just about finding the right people, finding the right team to work with, and we've finally done that. And it's nearly time for it to drop.
Mate, it's one of those things. I was chatting about this recently on a podcast, and I know there's a lot of hard things to do. And I think starting a business in general is one of those things. If you knew how much it took, you probably wouldn't do it to start with. But you go through that journey and you start on things, and where you start out and then when you end up is another part of it. Like, has it been a bit of an eye opener, like how much work actually goes into it? Yeah,
I mean, because we had the plan of just coming into this and thinking we could just go get a Chinese manufacturer who's going to do it for cheap for us, and the rest will be history. But after we've got a team. We're working with 2 guys named Glenn and Oren, who part of Nana Judy, who have we're using their team, we're using their manufacturers, their shipping. There's a lot more to it than what we thought at first, and so we're glad we have a good team around. And it's been a pretty expensive startup, so it's kind of things you just don't expect. And we've had a lot of meetings, a lot of sit down Zoom calls. So I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, and like you said, you kind of don't expect that going into all the things that are going to pop up and all the issues with trademark and names and all that stuff. So we made sure we're doing it 100% correct, so we don't run into problems later down the track. And I think just having a good team is important, because it's something you can't really do on your own.
For sure, mate. No, I relate completely to that. We just came off a shoot before with the stuff we're launching with CSW, and it's just like it's just crazy all the stuff that you thought you just don't forget about. You forget about, and to build it. But mate, I'm so excited to see it. When's it dropping?
So we'll be aiming to do a launch party September 1st. So
will you do something in Australia or will it be overseas?
It'll be in Australia. So it'll be here in Melbourne, and we'll be doing a launch party, gifting out a lot of items.
Shit,
then we'll have a website from there. And the plan is to start to get it into stores and like David Jones, Maya, trying to get it in there and slowly expand. Hopefully one day we can have our own store, selling our own stuff. So we got a big vision for it, but it's going to take a lot of work.
Mate, that's crazy. That's one thing I didn't think we'd be deep into today, but it's so cool to see what's going on off the court. Very cool.
No, I appreciate it. So I'm looking
mate, we'll get in that. I'm sure that we're getting invited to that launch party. The invites. Obviously, they haven't sort of hit the inbox as yet, but I'm sure they're sort of coming in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'll send you my updated email just in case it hasn't come through.
I got you.
Mate, so what's been like? Obviously, reflecting from that time, like 142 episode, we're up to like 240 now. I think we've done 100 in between. Right. It's been honestly incredible. And I know you get this a lot, but I think in Australia we're so proud of our own talent and seeing you go over there, do your thing and dominate and it's been unbelievable to watch, man. So cool to see. How's it been for you firsthand? Like, what's that challenge been like? So I suppose you get that, all the acknowledgement when it happens, but then I suppose it dies down a little bit, and then you just get into work mode.
Exactly, and it's been great. I think it was like over 2 years now that I last was on here. So, I mean, since then, I've been drafted. I've played my 2 years in the NBA, and I think for me, it's about it's just about getting better and better every year. And I made a jump from my first to second year, and my third year, I'm looking to make a big jump. I think that's I have a lot left in me. I have a lot more to show, and for me, it's about going out there. Representing Australia the right way, represent myself the right way, my family, and going out there and showing all the hard work that I put in. And I'm looking forward to year 3. There's a lot of things in between that, with Olympics and stuff. But I think year 3 I can make a big jump and have a bigger impact on my team.
No, we know you can, mate. We've seen some incredible stuff. Darcy's a big basketball man. He sort of thinks if he had your height and ability, he could be you, which makes sense.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, no, but he really thinks that's sort of possible. Yeah. I will get to your basketball in a minute because I do want to really talk about that. Like, obviously, coming up against some incredible people, as you said, that massive jump from year 1 to year 2. I want to talk about the mindset around that, what changed, training, playing with good players, playing against good players. Yeah. But I do actually have some really. I hope these are interesting for people listening, but I'm so curious about this because you move over, to a new country. As you said before, you're living by yourself. You're in a new state, like trying to work out like where you are. Obviously, with traveling too, you're on the road consistently. What's like the lifestyle like in season of an NBA player? Is it something that I know you're over there with Ignite and doing that stuff already? But was it similar to that transition? Like, did you reckon that set you up for what it was actually going to be like?
I think it helped me a lot. moving over to a US a year before I got drafted and just playing with that Ignite team, kind of getting a feel of what the NBA is like and the lifestyle. But I mean, the NBA is another jump up from that. Ignite, we were living in like the Bay Area, San Francisco area, and we were playing our home games in Vegas. So we had to travel to home games and away games. So that was a little annoying. And but I think as you get to the NBA, the lifestyle changes. You're getting charter flights, you're getting buses right there for you at the airport, taking you straight to the hotel. Your key card's waiting for you to just go up and check in, and your bags are getting delivered to your room. So it's it really is great. It's luxurious, and they take a lot of care of you. And I think playing an 82 game season, 41 games on the road, traveling back to backs and stuff, it can be tough. And it's taxing. You have to take care of your body. You have to make sure you're putting the right fuel in your body, and there's a lot more stuff that goes into it behind the scenes than just waking up every day and playing basketball. And there's a lot of film, a lot of practice, a lot of late nights, a lot of change in time zones and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty. It might look pretty on the outside, but on the inside, it's pretty gritty. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do this, and we have the support around our team. There's people everywhere in the NBA that are willing to help, and so many people in every organization that are there to for one specific reason, and they do a great job of whatever it be, whether it be the nutritionist, whether it be the psychologist, like the physios, the strength guys, like they're always there to help, and it makes our life a lot easier. But I think life outside the NBA it can be tough, but that's what they pay you for. So I think at the end of the day, there's no excuses. You got to go out there and perform, and I think everyone will want to, any basketball player as a kid will want to play in the NBA as a dream of theirs, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really like, even you saying that then, like obviously there's a game, the match on the weekend, but what happens after like intrigues me. Like week in the life, is it somewhat consistent and routine? What happens next? Like take us through like what would happen. So you've got your game, your fixture comes out.
Yeah.
Say you finish a game. What happens from there to then get ready for the next one? And there's travel included.
So, every game's different. Every week's different because, some days you have like your hardest weeks will be a 5-game week. So you play Monday, Tuesday, you have Wednesday off, you play Thursday, Friday off, and then you play Saturday, Sunday. So it's a 5-game week. And, for something like that, you're probably not going to practice much just because, you need to recover and you're going to be flying to other cities and stuff like that. So, a game days usually consist of waking up, getting to the gym around like 8:30, 9 o'clock, getting your breakfast in, getting your pre-shoot around stuff in, so like your shots with your coach or whatever you need to do, your recovery, whatever. And then we do shoot around for an hour, so it's usually 10 to 11. Then we get our lunch, head home, take a nap, and then we're usually back at the arena by like 4 p.m. around. So if we have a 7 o'clock game, we'll be there by 4. We're there, warming up, preparing, taping. Some people, you get the option to lift before or after games. So I usually lift after a game. So you play the game, then you get your lift in, usually about a half hour to 45-minute lift. And then, from there, just get your food, go home, get your rest. And, depending on the next day, you might still be at home. You might have a home stretch, or you might be on a plane that night to another city, or you might wake up and, you'll be playing in the morning. So it's hard to
it's crazy.
It's hard to plan out
crazy.
a week. So it's hard to plan out 1 week because every week's different. Some days you're on the road, some days you're at home. I think the NBA schedule, they do try to look after you a little bit with you might have like a 10-game home stretch or, a 10-game away stretch with some fun. But, they do try to take care of you, which is good. But it can be taxing. It's taxing on the body, it's taxing on the mind. So you got to make sure you really look after yourself.
Recovery sounds like it's, pretty important to keep your body fresh throughout the time, but I suppose mentally as well.
Yeah.
How have you found that, like maybe first year to second year, like improvements in yes, keeping your body right, but I suppose your mind and mentality and that mindfulness may be part of it too? Like, has there been any sort of techniques you've been using sort of midweek to refresh yourself and go into games feeling your best?
Yeah, I think, just learning from my first year to my second year was a big thing. And, my first year I would come home from a game and I'd be there. I'd be getting Uber Eats or something like that if I didn't want the food after a game. And I just wasn't really locked in on my diet or anything like that. And I think coming into year 2, I knew that was something that I needed to clean up. So that's why I hired Rock. He was able to come there. I was able to have meals cooked and ready for me when I get home. I moved into a new house, so I got a pool, so I'm able to get in there and do a little bit of recovery if I need. But yeah, I think from year 1 to year 2, I just learnt more. I knew that I needed to take care of my body if I wanted to have a longer career. So after every game, I'm doing something, whether it be stretching, whether it be getting on the table, getting massage, getting hypervolt, getting in the cold tub. It's important to, take care of your body. And then you come in the next day, you might be a bit sore. They have all the recovery resources there for you. It's just about going in there and using it. So for me, I'm always, we have a red light bed. I get in that. We have Normatex, we have cold tubs. We have massage therapists there. It's all there for you. It's just about being disciplined and going in there and using it. And there's nothing worse than coming into a game feeling sore, feeling beat up. So you want to take care of your body, and I think that's something that I started doing from year 2, and something I want to still improve on going into year 3.
Has it surprised you? And I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I remember when I was playing footy, there was a guy named Johan Billsborough who's a gun in Australia, and he's moved over to the US now. I think he was working with the Celtics and also the Patriots at the same time. And I was amazed by this, but sort of chatting to him, he's like, some of the players don't use a lot of the facilities around them as much, and there's some guys there that have these incredible careers, and they might not be the best players, but they're doing their lifts post game or pre game, they're getting their Normatex, ice baths, red lights, all these things, eating well. But he said some of the best players aren't doing these things, but they still perform at the best. So it's it's hard to tell them to do it when they're not needing to. Has that happened? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have, and I think it's a discipline thing. Everyone's body reacts differently, and one day that I think, you know, you get the guys like LeBron who take like care of their body. I can hear he invests like $1 million a year just in his body. I have this guy on my team, CJ McCollum, who's like, this is his, I think, 12th or 13th year, and you know, he has his own guy. You know, he's getting treatment every day. His guy is traveling with him. Jonas Valanciunas, a 13-year vet, has his own guy traveling with him. You know, all the hotels, he's getting massages, taking care of his body. So those guys like who have had their long careers, you know, I know like that they've been taking care of their body. They're always in there early, you know, in the cold tub, doing whatever it is, because you know, as you get older, you know, your body starts to need that stuff more. And I mean, there's some people who are just freak of natures who just don't need that, and they'll just roll out every day and, you know, no stretch, no nothing, and just get out there. And I've seen that too, which is pretty crazy. But you know, I think the best players who perform the best and you know, have the longest careers are the ones that do take care of their body for sure.
Yeah, I've found that even just like, you know, as cliche as it sounds, like those quotes, like if you do those little things right, like they accumulate to big things, not just on the court or on the field, but in business, you know, in apparel, in everything. Like it sort of translates. So it's important to have those things. I definitely know as a kid, I struggled with that, but you know, just learning it more is super important. Before we talk about coaches, right? Like obviously with the Pelicans, you've got your own incredible staff, and in the NBA they have great people around them. But obviously you've got Rock, and people have got different people. Are you allowed to just bring in sort of whoever you want as well, or does that have to go through some process with the team being like, hey, look, I'm thinking about bringing on my own strength person to support with this program? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you can have anyone you want. It's just like bringing them into the facility can be tough. Like you're like, I mean, I don't know anyone on our team that has like a guy that's like their guy that like comes to practices and comes to lifts and stuff. So
sorry, those coaches you were talking about earlier, they're coaches for the Pels. They're not like
they're coaches for the Pels.
In preseason, you have your own coach though, right?
Yeah, preseason. So
it's different.
Yeah, I mean, like I have my own trainer outside of the team, and I have my own strength coach outside. I have my assistant like, who works with me outside. So I mean, I have all my stuff outside of it, but inside the Pelicans, they have everything as well.
Yeah,
like,
cool.
There's like 6 or 7, you know, physios. We got 2 massage therapists. We got 4 or 5 strength coaches. So I mean, everything's there inside the facility that we need. It's just the extra stuff, you know, if you need that extra stuff at home, or you want a guy who's with you all the time, you know, you can have your own guys. But I think the club prefers to keep them away from the club just so they can have like, you can have your own relationship outside of it, and you know, they want them getting too involved inside of the organization. And but I mean, most people have their kind of group outside that travels with them anyway and is there with them on the road. And so yeah, I think that's what most people do. But you know, having them in the club can be pretty difficult.
I'm going to ask you some basketball questions soon, I do know, but I'm just so interested by like the life and I suppose the stuff behind it that we just don't really think about. New Orleans, have you enjoyed living in the city?
Yeah, I think it's grown on me. You know, when I first got there, it was different to what I'm used to, and I think as time's gone on, you know, I've kind of grown. It's grown on me. You know, I've found my food spots. I found my spots I like to go. So you know, I've had Rock there as well, which makes it easier. And
where's Rock from? Where are you from, Rock? Originally? Rock, okay, that's not in America. Yeah, that's.
So, but yeah,
But where did you live in the US before China?
California.
Oh, so you were in California. Yeah.
Yeah. So he went to Kansas for his college years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but I think you know, I lost where I was.
No, I was saying it's my fault. I was sort of chatting to someone off the podcast. But the question, I mean, in New Orleans.
Yeah. So I think it's grown on me. Like I said, from when I got there to where I am now, you know, I found a house I really like. You know, I've got my people who come in. I think that's one thing that I really adjusted from my first year to second year. I love being around my friends. So I've always got friends from home coming in and out, you know, staying a couple of weeks. And I think that's important. You know, you're so locked in on basketball that sometimes you lose contact with the outer world and your friends and stuff. And, you know, just so repetitive that you kind of get lost in the system a little bit. So for me, one thing that helps me is having my friends come in and out. I always have friends there, just coming home, having a laugh, playing some games, getting food together, you know, doing what we do at home. So it makes it a lot easier. And as time's gone on, you know, New Orleans has grown on me. Like I said, I found my spots. I know what I like to do. I've got people there. I know my chill spots I can go where I can have a quiet drink or two, or I can go play some golf or something like that. So I do enjoy, in New Orleans. I think the thing with NBA is if you're in a big city that has so much going on, you can get caught up in that and can kind of lose focus. But New Orleans is a smaller city, doesn't have too much going on. It has its spots, has its festivals every now and then, but it's a city where you can stay locked in, and the fans appreciate you. And I think one thing with New Orleans is it's a sports city, so they love you out there. They take care of you and make sure that you're good to go.
So cool. It's important what you said before, and I did hear you say golf. I know people listening. I'm coming back to that later. Don't worry. But around, the fans and being a part of a community and all those things. Like I know how I don't know what the word is, but like patriotic fans are in the US. And I suppose we saw on the other way what happens with when Ben Simmons when he left. Philly, and how it can turn. So I suppose there's an importance there to sort of keep them on side. If there's top 3 things in New Orleans to do, so it's Bourbon Street's New Orleans, right?
Bourbon Street's New Orleans. So
what would you say top 3 things?
I think one thing is the tours it has. It has like a really rich history, and it's got a lot of stuff it's been through. It's been through, it went through a hurricane that wiped out the whole city. So that was like 20 years ago, and it's kind of it's still rebuilding today. Like it's still like you see some parts are being destroyed and stuff. And I think the rich history of it, you can go on graveyard tours, and it's one of the only cities that actually they bury people above the ground, so they have graveyards that sit up on the ground. So they have graveyard tours, they have like haunted house tours, they have like voodoo tours. So the tours is definitely one of them. I think the festivals it has Mardi Gras festival, has its jazz festival. So these are like bring a lot of people in, and it's known for its jazz music, New Orleans. So live jazz music, and they have like bands there. You can walk down Bourbon Street and hear bands playing. So it's pretty cool. And I think the last thing is just the food. It's known for its seafood. It's down there on the Gulf. So you go there, you go to get a big seafood, fiery crab. I go to get a big seafood boil, and they just dump it all in.
Is that I've seen that on TikTok. I've never had that before.
Yeah, so I think you got to get some of the seafood if you're down there for sure. So I say those are the best 2 things: the tours, the festivals, and live music, and the food. There, you got to try the food for sure. Got to get around.
And last part on the travel: when you are traveling the States and you do get time in any other sort of city, not so much you want to live there or anything, but one that you like. Where else is sort of cool?
I think I like Phoenix a lot. The warmer weather out there. I really like Phoenix. I like LA. Those are kind of probably my 2 favorite cities. That I'm a West Coast guy, so over on the West Coast is my 2 favorite cities I like to visit for sure.
We are actually Darcy and I are going to California. In November. We're going to Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's different.
Have you been there?
I've been there. I mean, it's different for sure. I mean, they call it the brick house out there. So
love that.
There's a
you
find some
brick
good
houses, or is that, what is
that? I don't know. I think it's all just because it's like there's all brick out there. Like, there's not much.
There you go, Das.
Not much grass.
Brick houses.
But Sacramento's cool. I don't know too much about it, but I know. I have a few people who are from Sacramento. So.
We'll have to swing down to New Orleans back on the way and stop by, get a crab plate. Get some jazz. Love that. Mate, when you got drafted, you know what my favourite thing was?
What?
That shiny suit.
The suit.
Yeah.
The Tin Man suit.
We love that suit. Talk me through that. Did you like have a designer approach you? Did you go out and be like, no, I want a bit of flavour? Like what was the...
I mean, I went to a suit, Elba Legacy, who fitted me and everything, and it's kind of hard because they just show you like all these little pieces like cloth kind of that you got to pick from, and it's like you kind of got to picture what that color would look like on a suit. And I wanted to, you only get the opportunity once, so I wanted to do something that was going to be out there. And I seen the silver was like shining and it was like blooming to me. I was like, yeah, let's try that. It was a little risk because I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I was happy with how it turned out. I think it was different. I think it was cool. So yeah, I just wanted to have something different out there.
Fresh.
But I did. It was controversial. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. But that's why I think
you could pull that off. I don't know if I could, but
I think you could do.
I think I liked you in it a little bit better. Draft night's a big one, and I say that because I've seen Draft Day with Kevin Costner. Now I know that's NBA, but have you seen that movie?
No,
it's fantastic. You've seen that movie? Managers, they love this movie. It's like the movie of managers. Kevin Costner, Draft Day. He like trades all these picks on draft night. And whenever I'm sort of like thinking about the NBA draft or the NFL draft, it's just like anything can sort of happen.
Yeah.
When you were speaking to us back then, I think it was like 3 months prior to the draft, and you sort of said you had a bit of an inkling of where you were going to go.
Yeah.
Did things plan out the way you expected heading in? Like, is that where you sort of thought you were going to go? Had you spoke to the Pelicans? Was that on plan?
I think, but when I was on this last time, I might have been sitting around like late or early teens.
Yeah, you went way up, didn't you? Yeah, 20.
So I think since then I exceeded my expectations, and from there I had a really good draft process. And I mean, the draft process is you're visiting all these teams. You go into the combine where you're doing all your workouts and your athletic jumps and whatever you got to do there. But I think what people don't realize is like at the combine you're sitting down with. I think I had 20 meetings with different teams, and you go from room to room and you just sit there for 30 minutes and they quiz you. They try to pick your brain. They try like make you kind of stuff up to see like what type of person you are, because it's a huge investment, them investing in you, and they want to know what type of person you are, what you're going to bring to them. What they don't want to have any trouble with you. So I mean, you're sitting down for 30 minutes with every team, going over everything, and I think that's where I kind of boosted myself a little bit, where I was able to, talk them into some, candy about me and stuff, and make them like me a bit more. And as the draft process went on, I kind of kept moving up the boards a little bit. So I started at 20, I got down to about 13, 12, and then as there's like 2 weeks out from the draft, I had a couple of really good workouts. Teams, like a few teams said they really liked me. And I mean, going into the draft, you have an idea, a range, and my range was going to be from about 6 to 14, I'd say. So I think going in, you have an idea. At that stage when you're green, you're going to get picked, and that's a surreal feeling in itself. It's just about where you are, you're getting the nerves, like where you're gonna be, where you're gonna move, like where you're gonna be living. Like it's kind of it's a different feeling, and I was nervous in the green room, but I was just happy to be there. I had my family there, and it's kind of just all the emotions of, as a kid, you dreamt of this moment, and you're finally there. And to hear your name called, when pick 8 was, it was truly like nothing like that. You can't put it into words. Man. It's just like your heart drops. Like I just start like sweating, like you get shivers. Like it's crazy. And from there, I mean, that's when my life changed, was when I got drafted to the NBA. So it's pretty special.
Unbelievable, man. Pick 8, top 10 in the NBA draft. It's pretty incredible. When that pick was read out, were you thinking, this could be me? Did you know before it, or was it sort of like... I got a phone call. They called before it, hey?
I don't like that. I think
I
just call it out up top. I want the suspense, get up, like what's going to happen every pick. So they called me about 2 or 3 minutes before, and I was on the phone with Coach Green, and I couldn't hear shit. I was just there, just trying to saying yep. I appreciate it. I was just trying to guess what he was saying because it was so loud in there. I couldn't hear anything. But I mean, I knew from that stage that I was going to get picked.
That's
and
sick.
That's kind of...
So the phone, before that though, the phone rings, and that was sort of...
So they call my agent. He's sitting right next to me, and I'm just there under the table, like quick 15, 20 second
That's so
phone
good.
call, and from there, and then you hear your name called. It's such a surreal moment. So, but I want them to change that. Like, you got to, like, I just want them to, throw the name out there, Adam Silver. No phone calls, nothing before it. Just, wherever you go, you go. So.
I like that too. From that moment of getting picked, like the transition of then just getting into the club, meeting the players, coaches. Was there any moments from there that, there's two things I sort of want to talk about. One's like your welcome to the NBA, which is probably more of an on-court thing.
Yeah.
But then what was your welcome to the NBA that was maybe prior to actually sort of playing?
Yeah, prior to playing, I think
like getting your number, walking in the rooms, meeting certain people.
I think seeing your name in the locker room, you know, when you walk in there and you see all these big names that you grew up watching in the locker room, and seeing yours right there is that's pretty surreal. And your jersey's hanging up ready for you to go get your photo. And I mean that there's nothing that beats that moment. Like when you finally get that moment to finally go in the locker room, see your name, see your jersey, meet the people. So it's pretty surreal. And I think that was my off the court welcome to the NBA moment. So good. Yeah.
What about on the court? What's been your welcome to the NBA moment? Doesn't have to be your debut. It could be anything that sort of stands out to you.
I mean, I have two of them. I think one of them was you know, I try to take a charge on LeBron. You know, I was standing there, he runs straight through me. I'm on the floor, slide and hit my head on the stanchion and fucking play on. Like, you don't get any calls against LeBron, and that's like, okay, if I'm gonna go against LeBron, like, I'm gonna have to be stronger. And yeah, that was my on the court. And then there's another one is Devin Booker. I think we played him. My first time playing him, I held him to like, might have been like 14, 15 points. Like, you know, I was there. Like, he had a bad shooting night. Like, I was his matchup. So that was my first game. One of my first games I started, and then I think a week later he come back and dropped 54 on my head. So
wow.
It was like, yeah, I could think like just seeing that, like someone get fired up from like kind of, you know, getting stopped and, you know, coming back out there and showing like who he really is was pretty. Wasn't fun for me, but it might have been cool for other people to see. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you learn a lot from that though, right? Like that resilience. And I suppose in basketball you do play teams like more often. You're going to come up with similar matchups, and it is sort of that. As much as it's a team game, it sort of is one-on-one in the sense of some people matching up on others. Like
exactly. I think something with like that I realize is like they figure you out so quick. Like I'm a defender, like that's what I do, and he struggled a little bit with my length in that game, and I was able to, you know, get like poke at the ball, get a few deflections and stuff like that. And I think after that game, when we come back and played him a week later, he figured out my length. He figured out he has to get his shot higher. He has to, you know, push out his dribble a little more. And like from there, I was just struggling to like get any sort of like contest on him. And when a guy's in their zone like that, like he was, like if you don't block his shot, then he really doesn't see you. And I was like it was kind of cool to see that, like how he just adjusted to the first game and went out there and, you know, killed me the second game.
So cool.
Yeah. Not
cool that he killed you, but it's cool the experience, I suppose, and what you've sort of learnt from that.
Yeah.
Has there been like one that has maybe actually gone the other way, where, you know, maybe the first time you've played on someone hasn't gone the way you wanted, but then you've learnt on them and sort of caught them back the second time?
Yeah, I think Steph is one of them. You know, a guy who doesn't stop moving, and, you know, coming to the NBA, you kind of guard everyone a little like similar, and he's someone that you can't guard like you guard everyone else, because, you know, you look this way for 1 second, he's gone, like he's in the corner, like he's got a screen coming for him. So first game, you know, I struggled with him because he was just flying off screens. You know, I was chasing him everywhere, and I'm used to playing more on the ball with him. And second game, I realized that I had to, like, you know, when he got rid of the ball, I couldn't lapse, like I couldn't you know, take any breaks, and I had to stay with him because, you know, their whole offense is, you know, designed to get him open, designed to get him, you know, good looks, and he's running off screens off the corner. He's, you know, his back cut and stuff like that. So I realized that, you know, if I'm a guy like him, like you have to be locked in 100% of the time, or he's going to be gone. So the second game, I had a lot. I had pretty success, you know, just, you know, guarding him and making him take tough shots. So I think that's one thing that I learned from guarding a guy like that.
Who's a player that maybe your perception changed of when you were sort of like in the realm of getting drafted to the NBA, someone you looked at and thought, oh, you know, maybe they're not as good, but you just didn't think they were as good as they are. Then you get to that level and you go, fuck, I didn't understand actually how important or how good these sort of players were to their team. Yeah,
well, I was always, I wasn't a LeBron hater, but I was just like, how does he like do everything he does? Like he's not super explosive at his age, and he's not, I mean, he's athletic, but he doesn't have like a quick first step or anything. Like, how does he like do everything so like the same every time? Like he always gets to his spots. He's always, you know, picking teams apart. And I think, you know, a guy like that like shows how important your body is in the NBA. And, you know, he's so like, he gets so low to the ground that you can be there with him, but he's just so strong. Like his hips are so strong. He just goes through you. And I think that showed that like the way he's worked on his body over these 20 years is how he keeps going. And whether someone's in front of him or not, like he's got such like lower body strength, such upper body strength that even if you are in front of him, like he can go through you. He knows where to hit you so that you're most vulnerable. That's going to knock you off balance and stuff like that. So I think his mind just thinks the game in a different way.
This is such a cliche question, but I think it'd be remiss of us not to ask it. Like if you think about it now in terms of like the GOAT of NBA, and I know like obviously Michael Jordan, LeBron James gets like thrown up a lot, but is there anyone else you'd throw in that? And if you had to, like a 3-2-1, 3 being the best, 2 then 1, like what would it be? I think
it's 1 and 2 between Michael and LeBron. I don't want to put either of them above either because they're so
neither
good,
man, just in case they hear this. I don't want to do that.
I think it's LeBron and Michael, and then Kobe, and then I think there's a big group of people below that. But I think I'm gonna say LeBron is my GOAT, you know, just because my generation. I've never seen Michael play, but I think, you know, it goes LeBron, Michael, Kobe a little lower, and then there's a group of like 10 people.
Yeah, a lot.
Just all like championships, everything.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like, you know, I'm a lover of sport. I'm a lover of like the romance of it, and you think of like those players, and I actually just get like goosebumps when you say some of those names, and to think that, you know, one, you're playing with them, but two, you can build that legacy for yourself. Like, there's no reason why that isn't possible.
Exactly, and you know that's the aim one day. You know, that's what you put in all the hard work for as a kid. Now that you're there, you know, all the hard work you put in is kind of create that legacy for yourself.
Bloody oath, so cool. With the Pelicans, I watch. I like watching the clips of like celebrities coming to games, right? And I know, who's Kevin Hart loves the. Who is it? So I know Little Dick. You know Little Dicky, the rapper? Yeah, he loves Philly. Yeah, he loves Philly. He's always like got his Philly hat on. Yeah. More in NFL, I think NBA as well. Is there any Pelicans big dogs that get down to the games that like to sort of dap up with the boys?
I mean, it's Pelicans. I'd say. I mean, we have a few like rappers that are homegrown. Yeah, like there's a guy named Currency. You might know Boozy. So Boozy, he comes to a few games and. He's been coming a lot more lately now that, you know, the team showed him love. So yeah. I think you know, those type of people, you know, if the club's showing you love, like the organization's showing them love, then they're going to come and they like that sort of attention, you know, sort of thing. But I mean, it's kind of cool. You can go to like LA and you could have like who knows, like a Will Ferrell courtside or like a bloody Kim Kardashian or something like that. So I mean, there's been a few games where we've had some big name celebrities. You know, you go to Philly, Meek might be there, Meek Mill. Yeah, I think that's that kind of cool. You know, these people you see on TV that you idolize all the time, and to see them at your game, you know, sitting there watching with their kids or whatever is pretty special.
So crazy, and I know it's super sort of, but you know, you're in that level now, so it's weird asking you to reflect that, but it is sort of funny. Like you watch on Keeping Up, like Kardashians and stuff, and you see it and you're like, what the fuck? Like that's exactly. They're just normal people, but it is crazy that they are a part of that world. Yeah. On a business level, I know you're a really intelligent, very intelligent guy. With I had Andrew Bogan on the podcast a long time ago, and we're sort of chatting about the business of NBA, of like, you know, really making sure you got good people around you, which you have. You know, you've got an incredible agent, you got Rock as well, like you got a great support network. Like, you know, not to go into too much detail, but how are you going with making the most of, obviously, a great sort of lifestyle in the NBA, great contracts, a lot of, you know, money coming in. Are you sort of putting that to work? Like, are you keeping your mind on that sort of stuff?
For sure. I think one thing about being in the NBA is, you know, one thing about having money is you have to have a good team around you. Yeah. I mean, you'd be wrong if you thought, like, people weren't trying to get their own out of you. And, like, that's what, like, everyone wants to make a good living for themselves. So it's about finding the balance of, you know, you're going to have to pay these people, but you want to have a connection with them that's going to like last a lifetime. And I think that's one thing that I've built already is people around me who care about me, who are, I pay them, but like they care about me internally, they care about my family, they contact my family, and you know, that's something that I'm big on. And you know, with my money, you know, I want to make it last a lifetime. I want to have, you know, generational wealth one day. So I make sure that, you know, I've got my financial advisor, I got my agent, you know, I got Bianca who helping me out now, I got Rock, you know, I got a team of people who really care. And you know, like I said, I'm investing now. I bought my first property not long ago, so I'm looking. I've got a goal of we get a licensing check every year from the NBA, which is like all the jersey sales and stuff. So I'm looking to put all that money that I make, you know, every year into a new house, so I can build real estate that way. You know, I got the clothing brand now, so that's something I always wanted to do, and, you know, investment I've made. You know, I've got stocks and stuff like that. So I've always got my head screwed on just to, you know, keep my ears out for what's going well, what I can invest on, what I can put my money towards. And I mean, you know, you got to treat yourself as well. You know, I got a nice car. I bought a G-Wagon.
Okay, I've heard of those. Yes, I've heard of those. You
got to treat yourself as well, which is important because, you know, you work hard for that. But you know, I think one thing I like to do is invest my money and, you know, make more money. So
yeah, bloody oath. It's a good question. I appreciate your honesty on it, and I suppose preface that by saying, like, the reason on that is you do hear those horror stories of not, you know, really, you know, switching on guys like yourself, but other guys that have probably come in and don't have that good support around them. It's like, they're on like 10 million, but that can go quickly if you're not using it properly. Have you seen that at all? I mean, like, does it still happen, or is it a lot better now?
I haven't seen it like personally, but I mean, you hear of it all the time.
Yeah.
People getting taken advantage of their money, and I know one thing that we get taught a lot of is like the girls out there, like in America, they're trying to get the best of you, man. They're gonna try to find ways to get some money out of you somehow. And I mean, they had that.
It happens, man.
That baseball guy.
I can tell you, it's hard. They want
Dyl
that
knows.
Giants rookie contract up
Dyl
in Sydney
knows.
too, man.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you hear it all the time. I mean, that baseball Otani or something who just had his translator or interpreter or whatever, like stole like $4 million or something.
Holy shit.
I mean, it's always happening in sports, and like I said, it's about having the right people around you who aren't going to take advantage of you, and so I think that's a big thing when it comes to choosing your team.
Last financial question. I know you bought the G-Wagon. That's fantastic. We'd like to drive down Bourbon Street with you and Darcy when we come over, when we get in the fish, the hot plate.
The barbecue crab.
The barbecue crab. What was the first thing you sort of were like, I'm going to treat myself on this? Like when you first got drafted, did you get yourself something cool?
Yeah, I mean, I bought a BMW X6, so that was my first big purchase.
So these are in the States, right?
Yeah,
these cars.
Are in the States. Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of my first big purchase, but like I said, like I seen all this money coming in, but I just wanted to save. Like I wanted to put it aside. Like I wasn't really big on buying huge things. I wasted money on a stupid diamond watch. Spent too much on that. So I look back at that and be like, that was a dumb decision. But it was a decision I made in the moment. I enjoyed it for a couple of weeks. So I still got it, but pull it out every now and then. But I think as I'm getting older, I look to put money into something that's gonna benefit me and make money back for me. So that's something that I'm kind of learning and going along as. And I think my first purchase was my car. It cost me about $80,000 US. So I'm a big car guy, so I'm gonna keep getting cars for sure. But like I said, I'm invest most of my money
in the good stuff.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, mate. The one part before we're talking about, obviously at the moment, big training period. We've got the Olympics coming up for the Boomers as well, and I know there's a lot of physical goals you were saying before, working with your trainer. Really curious, so like how do you sort of plan for the next season ahead in the NBA? Like, do you set goals? Obviously, there's physical goals. There's the, I suppose, the materialistic goals of, not materialistic, but there's the individual stuff as well that you obviously want to be able to do.
Yeah.
But is it like a lot of that physical, or is there a lot of it like mindset? Like, do you work with, in the AFL and in Australia at the moment, especially me, like I'm incredibly passionate and I know how strong that if you get your mindset right, how far you can go.
Yeah.
Is that something that you believe in, and is it something that obviously the NBA put a lot of time in, or is it something that you seek outside of that?
Yeah, I think that's I believe in that for sure. You got to have your mind right. You got to have the best players in the NBA, the ones that have been doing the same stuff over and over again, the ones that work the hardest. They'll have their heads screwed on straight, and why wouldn't you want to have the mindset with the opportunity you've been given? And for me, it's about like I set goals, but like I sit down with my trainer, a couple of weeks before every season and look at where I want to be at, like what I want to do. I look at my percentages from last year. I look at what I want to boost them to. I look at
so like shooting, like steals, like all those things.
Yeah, so these are all like the numbers, goals and stuff like that. But then I look at accolades goals, and I want to try to win most improved player. And I think coming into my finishing my second year, I felt like there's so much more I can give, so much more I can do, so much more I have to show that that's really a realistic goal for me. And if I have a good year, that's something that I can achieve. So, I haven't done my sit down with my trainer yet, but we'll do that in probably a month or two, and we'll go over goals that we want to achieve for this year, and that's something that I'll have written down. I'll put it on my wall at home, and I would be in a spot where I look at it every time I go out, and then I go out there and I put the work in, and look at the end of the day and ask myself if I made myself better or not.
Crazy, man. So cool. Love that insight. The Boomers. It's something that we're obviously very passionate about here. As I mentioned a few times, Olympics coming up. How did you like the new kit that dropped today heading into the Olympics?
Did you see some of the comments on it?
It's interesting.
It's very interesting. I don't know if it's basketball or it's.
I didn't. It looks like hockey, like a hockey kit or something.
It looks hockey, track athlete, decathlon, whatever you want it. They can use it for anything. So It's terrible. It's shit. It's,
like, how are you going to go, obviously, coming up against, like, the US, and you're wearing that, like, skin-tight singlet?
Oh, man.
The boys, I don't think they're going to let you sort of leave that one down.
we can make enough noise that we can, like, bully them into changing it or something. So.
Yeah.
But no, it's fucking terrible. I got nothing to say. It's shit.
Yeah, I hope maybe they've got to, like, get a bit more of a... Maybe that was, like, an extra medium on. Like, they maybe get some double XLs or something, just a bit looser. I'm
surprised they wouldn't, like, go through, like, any of the... Like, the guys to have, like, a little say in it, like, approve it or anything. Like, they just released, like, this is the uniform today.
I don't think it is, but it could be one of the best marketing things of all time. That they've reverse done it, and then maybe you guys will get involved and design something better. Like, hopefully, I'm just hoping that could be something.
I hope that's the case. Cause
it's just interesting because I think we've come such a long way in sport of, like, the mix of sport and fashion and being able to, like, not just, play well but look good as well. And yeah, it's disappointing. Like, you see what Australia's done with, like, Matildas, how cool they look, like everything else they're doing. That was a miss.
I'm surprised at that. I had a talk with Jock, Landale, and Giddy today, and
they're keen for it.
They're as keen as I am. So.
Yeah.
But
do you have, like, a Boomers group chat that sort of flowed through? And
it hasn't gone through the Boomers group chat yet, but I'm sure it'll be there by the end of the day.
Yeah, Cool. No, it's exciting. Olympic Games, though, heading over, it must be pretty cool to head over to Europe and represent the country.
Yeah, I'm grateful that well, it's not there yet. There's still 3 more cuts to be made, but I'm grateful to have the opportunity in front of me, and I'm gonna go out in that camp, and I've been working hard all summer. I know that I'm gonna go put my best foot forward and give myself the best shot to represent at an Olympic Games, and there's nothing better than that. I had 2 dreams as a kid. One was to play in the NBA, and one was to play in the Olympic Games. So for me, the opportunity is right there. That there's no backing down. I'm gonna make the most of it.
Unbelievable, man. It's pretty sick. And, like, I feel even at the moment, Darcy was sort of chatting to me about this before, because we obviously had Joe Ingles on the podcast last year. Jeez, that's gone quick. Who's just an incredible person. The way he sort of speaks about Australia, what the Boomers means to him, and Paddy Mills obviously being probably those 2 guys that have been really taking on that the last sort of generation and this generation of what that means, and really been sort of pioneers in that sense. It does feel like now there is a little bit of a changing of the guard, though, with those guys getting towards the back end of their sort of career, and yourself and Giddy and Jock sort of coming through. Has that sort of been something that you guys have, like, addressed, or is it sort of been like a part being like, look, this could be these guys' last tilt at an Olympic game, and then this next sort of crowd coming through of our young guns? Yeah,
I think so, and I think guys like Paddy and Joe they've boosted the whole program by so much, and, like, just what it means to them, it kind of fuels everyone else, and they always talk about it. They show it with their actions on how much they care about this program and what it means to them, and to play at the Olympic Games, to get that bronze medal. Like, what was it? Fucking 2020, I think it was.
Yeah,
2021 maybe.
It might 2021 because they pushed it back a year.
So, like, that was like what that meant to them is it's special, and you don't see that in sports sometimes. Like, a lot of people kind of want theirs and want their own, but these guys want it all for Australia. They want it all for the culture, and you come together and you be around these guys and just see what they put how much they put into the program. Last year we were in Cairns, and Paddy, he did, like, this big culture thing. He took us up to we were in Cairns. He took us up to, like, his people, and they did this big cutmire, which was like this big thing where they cook on hot rocks, and we sit there and we eat it with our music and stuff in the background. And it's all about Australia when it's with those guys, and it's just the passion that they show is something that you don't see often. And me, like, guys like me, Giddy, Greeny, Jock, like the guys who are a bit younger now, it's going to be our job to carry that legacy, because they've done such a good job, and we're going to have to figure out ways on how we want to do that. But Paddy and Joe are older. I think they know that this might be their last one, and they're going to make the most of it for sure. So it's about making sure that we continue that legacy, and sit down and have talks with them, and see what we can do to kind of bring the next wave of a group of guys through, and keep that passion and that culture going.
Will you have a camp sort of going in, like another camp like that? You spoke about that one because Joe mentioned the same thing with Paddy Mills doing his that somewhat of a ceremony prior to going into the Olympics last time. Will you have another camp that you guys go to prior to the Olympics?
Yeah, so we have a camp in 2 weeks. June 25th it starts. So we have it'll be about a week of just training, preparing, and then we got 2 exhibition games against China here in Melbourne. We go to Abu Dhabi and we'll play Team USA in Serbia, which will be tough with the roster that they're bringing, and then we play, I think, 2 more games in France before the Olympics. So we'll have like a full like month process kind of just leading up to the Olympics where the team will be together, playing games, just building that chemistry together. And we didn't do as well as we wanted at the World Cup last year, so this is going to be an important year for us. Yeah,
that was my next question. Obviously, you get that experience going in. With the Olympics as well, with the camp, all those bits and pieces that are coming through, do you sort of give a look at other countries and their teams? Like, I know that you're focusing on the Boomers themselves, but like you'd obviously be playing with a lot of guys in the NBA that are going to go back to their sort of home countries as well. Yeah. Have you sort of do they sort of scout that, and do you know who's playing for who yet?
Yeah, you see it, like, I think everyone, like all the big names are going to play this year, especially like USA, like they bring in like LeBron, KD, Steph, like all these big names that might have taken a couple of years off are coming back. So it's kind of like the Avengers, man. Like, they're coming back. Like, so you pay attention to it, but like at the end of the day, it's about your team and what you can do. And I think something that's changed from like 10 years ago is you come into the Olympics and there's the 2 or 3 powerhouse teams who are like they're the ones that are like bloody they're gonna win it. Like,
bronze, silver, gold, and you get.
And I think now it's like you look at the Olympics, it's like 8, 9 teams that all got a chance. Like, Canada's great, Serbia's great, like USA, Australia. You've got some of the African teams coming through. You got France, like
Greece,
like Slovenia, like these teams who all have really good players. Like, it's just such an open field now, and I think that's something that's going to excite people coming into this Olympics.
So cool, man. And it's something that I think is going to be incredibly exciting for not just you guys, but I think the nation watching. And I think we get around our Boomers, which is super cool. Obviously our Opals too. Your brother, he's playing some good basketball.
Yeah, he is.
Is he in Australia at the moment, or is he going to go over and do sort of follow your sort of?
So he's already following my path. He's already he's at Canberra right now. So he at the Australian Institute of Sport up there. So he's 16 now. He's already got a few college offers. He's got people coming after him left, right, and center. He's basically 6'6", my height now, and he's got so many options in front of him that he can take. It's just, for him, it's just about right now, like, settling in, making sure he's working on his game every day, getting better, because, he's going to have the opportunity to, make the NBA, and he's got the skill set, he's got all the things he needs, just about the mindset now. And I always tell him that, like, I know you're gonna put in the work, but it's about where's your mind, where's your mental game, and there's so much more to basketball than just going out there and making shots and stuff like that. So I tell him it's all about the little things. Make sure you take care of your body, keep eating right, keep being a good person. That goes a long way. And he's coming through. He's got a couple of years left before he either goes to college or goes pro, but he's going to make some noise for sure.
It's hard to sort of get into too much trouble up at Canberra,
exactly.
From what I've heard anyway. So I think he should be okay.
A lot of sleeps up there.
Yeah, literally. That's exciting, mate. You've got an incredible journey ahead, which has been it's been awesome to sort of watch as a friend, as we established last time, what you've been able to do. So I'm pumped for not only your next sort of 6 months, 12 months, but what's ahead in the future, man. We can't thank you enough for coming in and checking with us again. We'd love to just continue to come back in each year, and we'll see where it's at. And as I said, Darcy and I coming over. We're coming to New Orleans. We're going to
take care of
get some crab. It's going to be good. But mate, thank you so much. You're doing us proud, and can't wait to see what else you get up to over the next little bit.
Thank you, Dyl.
Thank you, brother. And also we'll get that shoot in September.
The merch. I'll send you boys some. I'll
send
you the drop. We'll get you at the release party and everything. So.
Don't worry about Darcy's. All right. It's just me. No, it's just me. It's fine.
We'll go play some golf and I'll show you.
No, that's okay. Last thing. I had 2 things that just nuffy questions I was going to ask you, because I know you're a Richmond supporter.
Yeah.
How happy with them at the moment because they sort of suck?
I think, yeah. I mean, we bad.
They're sort of shit, man.
But like,
Darcy's 300th coming up though.
I'm gonna be there this week, so
yeah.
I'm not really worried about this year. We had our 10 years. Of
okay, yeah,
so
okay.
We had our run. You know, you got to go downhill some stage. You know, we lost Koch and Rewalt, so we're gonna rebuild, but we'll be right there next year. And,
yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. And your golf game. This is something we need to do before we head back. We've got to have a hit. What do you play? Have you got an official handicap at the moment?
No. I mean, I literally never. I might have played golf like 3 or 4 times in my life before I come home, and I've played about 10 times in like 2 weeks. Like
okay.
There'd
be some beautiful courses in New Orleans, though, wouldn't there?
Yeah,
like
there's some. I don't know what they're called, but there's some nice ones out there for sure.
All right, let's lock that in. Before you go on camp, we're going to tee up a game. We'll go out somewhere and play somewhere nice here. Okay. I'm going to tee up with TaylorMade. And
what's your handicap? I'm curious.
I'm off 19.
Off 19. Okay, that's not terrible.
It's not impressive, I suppose, is it?
It's not bad.
It's not great, but it's not like terrible.
I could definitely challenge you at that.
I don't think you could, to be completely honest. I think that I don't. Being a bigger man, I don't think you have the.
If I get some clubs that on my length, then I think I'll be right.
Yeah, well, I'll tee you up with a connection to TaylorMade. They'd love to sort you out, and then great. Also Future Golf. We've got to get you into Future Golf as well. Good membership to get it going. But we'll tee that up, mate. We'll have a hit. Don't worry about that, and we'll lock it all in. But thanks again for your time, brother.
Sounds good. I appreciate
you, man.
Thanks
Thank you, brother.